Hello and welcome back. This is Tarun. Today's topic is AWS EC2. So in the last lecture, we saw how to create an AWS account. Now from this lecture, we will be exploring the different AWS services and see how those are connected, how we can develop our stuff on top of it. So let's get started. So once you log into your AWS management console, you will enter into this web page. Now in this web page, you will be shown the recently visited services. And if we go down, we will be provided with some more information like AWS Health, that whether any service was down or not, any change is scheduled or not, and other notifications. And also you will be provided with the cost and usage info, that what's the monthly expenditure on AWS Management Console, forecast amount, and last month costs, and which service costed us the most. For this lecture, we will go and click on this EC2. Now this is the home page of AWS EC2 service. Here we are provided with the different information like how many instances are running, how many instances are currently there in the AWS EC2, which means that how many are running as well as stopped, how many volumes are there, how many key pairs are there. So if you have created the AWS account for the first time, you will not be shown any key pair over here. The count of key pairs will be 0 in that case. Security group, I think there will be one security group that is by default. We can see the default VPC that is already there. So that is provided by AWS. And if we go down more, we are provided with more options like launch an instance, migrate a server, schedule events for a particular region, AWS service health that we can go and check for a particular region. In the left side, this section, so in instances, if we click on this instance tab, it will show us how many instances are running or stopped. If I go to the next part, which is the instance types, it will give us the details of all the different types of instances like T2.micro, T2.nano, 2x large, medium. So if I click on this checkbox and go to the action, I am asked whether I want to launch an instance or create a launch template or likewise. So we can go through these as we explore more. Then we have the spot requests. Now what are spot instances is that the unused capacity that is lying idle in AWS environment, we can ask AWS to give us those. So it is much more cheaper than the on-demand one. But the catch over here is that if AWS thinks that now we want the spot instance back to our pool, it will be just 2 minutes of notification that will be given to us and AWS EC2 will take it back. So this is a con if we demand the AWS spot instances. It is cheaper, but AWS can ask it back again from us. So if I go back, there are some other options also that we can explore. Now in the next section, which is images, if I click on this AMIs, so what is AMI is that AMI contains the software configuration required for the creation of EC2 instances when we launch an instance. So if we have our own AMI or we want to use the existing AMIs that are currently present in AWS, we can use these AMIs. Now there are two different types of AMIs, EBS backed AMI, instance store backed AMI. No need to worry about what these are and how these things work. I'm just showing what is there currently in the EC2 homepage that we will touch as we build more complex stuff on top of our EC2 instance. So in this lecture, we will launch an EC2 instance. I'll click on this launch instance. Over here, I will give the name of the instance. So let me give demo 1. I can add more text to it, like the purpose. Next, what we can also add is that who is the owner of this instance. So I will give my name. By adding these tags, what happens is that it helps us to maintain the information that who created the instance and what was the purpose. So it's a good thing to maintain. The next option is to select the AMI I was talking earlier. So we can choose any of the AMIs that is present over here. AWS Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu. So we will be choosing AWS Linux AMI for our instance. So once we have selected that, we will keep this architecture option as it is. Now it is asking us to select the instance type. We will be working mostly on the free tier instance types only. So I am keeping this T2.micro as it is. So it provides us with the 1 CPU and 1 gigs of memory. And these are the pricing that we will be charged with. Now to log in into the EC2 instance, we need to have a key pair. So to create this key pair, if we have already created it, we can select from the drop down list, and if we haven't, we will click on this create new key pair and enter the name. So I can give any name to the key pair, demo test KP. I will keep this key pair type as it is. Change private key file format from .pem to .ppk and click on this create key pair. It will ask us location where we want to keep these. I will select the desired location. Now next section is of network settings. By default, AWS provides us with the default VPC that is already there. We can select the subnet and all those things, but for now we are keeping them as it is. Now we have to select the security group. Either we can create a new security group or select an existing one. So we will create a new security group for this lecture. If we check on this first option, it is allowing all SSH traffic from the world. There is also a warning which says that rules with this source allows all IP addresses to access our instance. That is not recommended. So what we will do, we will click on this anywhere and choose our IP. So only our IP will be able to log in into our instance and no other IP will be able to access it. Now we are provided with the default configuration storage that this instance will be having 8 gigs of memory with the root volume as general purpose SSD GP2. We can add a new volume to it also. And if you click on this advanced details, there are some other details like whether we want to select any domain for this instance, whether we want to attach any IAM role to this. We will keep it by default for now. There are some other details that we can also add, that we can select how we want to have the shutdown behavior. Now I will click on this launch instance. It has already created the instance. I'll click on that ID. Now the instance state of our instance is pending. We can check the other details that we have filled earlier, that the instance type is t2.micro. The availability zone that this instance has been launched into is US East 1A. What is the public IP of our instance? We can drag it to just see the complete IP. So this is the public IP for DNS. Now the IP is this. We do not have any elastic IP attached to this instance, and some other details like what is the key pair that it is using, what is the security group name. Launch this instance and see how that thing works. For that, I will click on this box and copy the public IP DNS and go to my putty. I will paste that public IP over here and expand this SSH section. I will click on this authorization option and click on browse. Now we will go to the folder location where we have kept our ppk file launched for this instance and click on open. So if you trust this host, press accept to add the key to putty's cache and carry on connecting. So we will click on this accept. Then we have to enter ec2-user to connect to this instance. Now it is authenticating, and now we have successfully logged into our ec2 instance. We can run some commands. Let us run sudo yum update. So it will update the libraries of our instance. So yeah, this is how we launch an AWS instance. Now next step is how to stop this instance. So for that, we have already checked this option. We will go to this instance state and click on this stop. Just for your reference, keep an eye on this public IP DNS. If I click on this stop, it will ask me to confirm my action. So the instance state has changed from pending to stopping. I will click on this refresh. Over here, now you can see is that the private IP is as it is. It has not gone. The IP has gone. So what it means is that the machine that was allotted to us in the AWS environment was taken back again to the pool. So if I click on the instance state and start instance, we will be provided with the new machine with the new IP. So that's a good concept that we should all know. Now as you can see, we are provided with the new public IP. Now the next option is to terminate the instance. What this will do, it will just kill all our storage, all our IPs, whatever we have installed on our instance, whatever we have done, all the work. If we want to terminate the instance, it will just remove all that. So if we want to work on our instance after 2 days or 3 days or after some time, it is recommended to use this stop instance action. And if we are confirmed that we will not be using the instance, it is recommended to terminate the instance, because if we do not terminate the instance, it will incur us some charges. So before terminating the instance, let us quickly see what is there in this actions tab. So in this actions tab, we have this options. If I click on this connect, it will ask us how do you want to connect to your instance. So there are multiple ways. The one way that I already told you, it is the same as this. We can also connect our instance using SSM manager, SSH client and EC2 serial console, but we will be connecting our EC2 instance using the PuTTY only. Now there is another option of rebooting the instance. So if I click on this, none of our IP will go, either public or private, but as you can see the status check has changed. So what this means is that once we reboot the instance, all these steps that it took to start the instance, it will go back to those again. So that is the concept of rebooting the instance. So for now, I will click on this terminate. If I terminate the instance, the root EBS volume that we have for this instance, it will be deleted too. Any storage that we have on this instance will be deleted. So please keep this in mind that if we want to terminate an instance, all our storage will also be deleted. I will click on this terminate and the instance state has changed from running to shutting down. So in this lecture, what we have learned is that how to launch an EC2 instance, what are the different instance states that we can use for our instance depending on our requirement, and how to terminate it. In the next lecture, we will see how we can create AMIs, how we can create snapshots of our existing EC2 instance and launch a new instance based on that. So that's it for today, folks. See you in the next one. Have a good day and take care.